All right, everyone, and welcome to another Friday. We made it through the week, another Cyber Social Hub Hubcast. My name is Kevin DeLong. I am the founder of Cyber Social Hub. If you haven't joined Cyber Social Hub yet, let me tell you a quick 30-second what it's all about. If you're a digital investigator, OSINT, cybersecurity, whatever, if you're investigating a piece of digital evidence or media or anything like that, we're the community for you. We got a lot of people in there. We talk about mobile forensics. We talk about drone forensics. There's all sorts of different topics in there. And a lot of guys have been in the industry for a long time, including the guy I'm about to bring up here in just a couple of seconds. I've known him, criminy, forever. So I'm not going to do any more advertisements for Cyber Social Hub this week. I'm just going to bring Mr. Jansen right up here. And there he is. Jansen, how are you, my friend?
I'm good, man. How are you guys?
Good, doing well. Sorry, my ears are all thing. Oh, the one thing I did get new this time is my little mic flag came in. I know you hadn't probably seen the show yet, but it's the little things that make me happy, and I'm completely nerded out by the whole fact that I have a mic stand.
Devils in the details.
Exactly. Oh man. So President, it's so funny that how long have I known you? How many years?
Probably 15 years.
It's been a long time.
Years.
Yeah.
I've been with MSAB for 13. And so I think I knew you back access data.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Yeah, it's been a long time. Yeah.
Jesus. See, I shaved my gray out. If you look real close, there's a little line of it right there.
Yeah,
you're just like on it.
Embrace the gray. I try to blend in with my background, and it's funny. A lot of the guys that I work with are older than me, and they all rock the Grecian hair formula for men, and they look good. But I love, like, I'm from the South, so I get tickled and I get messed up is that for some reason I can't get the Southern out of me. So like I have like the dark right here, so it looks like I have like the old Colonel mustache, and it grays out. So I can't get the red. I can't shake the redneck loose. It's just what I am. I embrace it.
You be you, man. That's so awesome.
Yeah. I was telling somebody, and they're like, they saw my picture about this podcast. I was like, yeah. So that was my fat Keanu phase, and so now I'm in my fat Wolverine phase. I'm just a big guy with a lot of hair. That's all I
got. So awesome, man. So you've been with MSAB for, you said, 13 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how long have you been president? And I didn't put the whole title in there, and I apologize. I was going to do that, and I completely forgot.
Yeah, thank you for that. So I got demoted to president in the tail end of 2020, and it was exciting. It's been fun. I inherited a great team, and we've been trying to make it better, and that's been a lot of fun. But prior to that, I did basically all the DoD and the Intel side for MSAB, and I did that for, and let's round up and say, let's say like 8-10 years. And then before that, when I started with MSAB, I was technical support,
mm-hmm.
I was sales support, I was a trainer, I was just a trainer. And so really I kind of got in from the ground floor and just, work your way up, Cinderella story, hearts and minds.
Right on.
Just staying in the game. It's just, this is what happens when you don't, get rid of a person that you should have. I end up, getting promoted to incompetence.
There you go. See, some people like the beard, man. Do you see? I just put it on.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
There's a lot. I don't know if you could. I think you could see chat going on there. There's a lot of people.
So I have a face for radio, so I need like everything I can to hide this. Right, a voice for silent film and a face for radio. And one of my guys was like, "Oh, nice haircut." And I was like, "Yeah. You get a $20 haircut on a $2 face. It's not really good for anybody."
Yeah. So I'm just literally grabbing all the comments down I see about the beard, and it's like going back a little bit. I didn't get to see any of the pre-show stuff though. So
yeah. I had one of those as a kid, a Daniel Boone hat. I had one of those as a kid with a raccoon tail. Yeah.
Oh man, CJ's hammering on you here.
Yeah. I don't want to go through his nicknames. Yeah, they're not safe for the
That's
family.
Right.
But yeah, CJ's a good dude.
He is. Indeed. He's soon to be a victim on the show, I'm sure. So we just gotta get him on there.
Please let me know. Can I be a call-in?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Call in.
Any dirt you have, we take that pre-show
awesome.
also.
CJ, so. I hate walking around like a trade show with CJ. And what I do is I walk around behind him. I just say, "Where's the protein? Where's the protein?" comes on the show and you see him, you
Yeah.
basically CJ's going to come on the show. He's going to ask for a protein bar, maybe a protein shake, and where's the gym? That's what's going to happen.
I always like the wait because it's like a 10-second reaction because the 5-second delay. By the time they
Yeah,
type, it'll come back. Either that or he's
yeah.
laughing so hard he can't.
It's okay. I'm slow. You can just say it. I'm slow.
Oh man, that's great. So, president for the last how long
A little
again?
over a year.
A little over a year. That's right. Because I found out at in Techno Myrtle Beach last year,
Yeah.
and I about fell out of my chair. I was like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you weren't alone. You weren't alone. They did what? Yeah. You definitely weren't alone. You definitely weren't alone.
That's great, man. It couldn't be a better person where you're at right now. So
Oh,
congratulations on that.
we'll see. We'll
Uh,
see. I
yeah,
appreciate
no,
that.
pretty awesome for sure. Um, so tell me some of the stuff that's going on over there at MSAB. What's the latest and greatest news coming out of mobile forensics? Because that's what we're going to chat a little bit about today.
Yeah, absolutely. So mobile forensics is, an ever-changing world. I think when I got into it, so I started out in computer forensics with Mississippi State, doing their National Forensics Training Center, and it was all computer forensics. Everything we did is computer forensics. I was a computer science student and kind of messed around in law enforcement and all that kind of stuff, and had a great time doing that. And it was like 80-20. It was 80-20 computer forensics to cell phone forensics.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would say, within, the short time that you and I've known each other, you've seen that completely flip. Now it's 80-20 mobile forensics to 20% maybe computer forensics. It's not that computer forensics isn't still vital and it's needed. It's just shifted so much as the ubiquity of the cell phones. And then in that time, we've seen major, major industry changes. You've gone from the flip phone, the feature phones, the dumb phones, the Nokias that were made out of silica concrete that you couldn't, break. And,
Right.
and and true story, one of the first cases I ever worked was a homicide where they used a Nokia phone to hit somebody, club somebody over the head. Absolute true story. That was
Jeez.
like the first case I ever used or ever worked on, and it was just unbelievable. And then you have, then the presence of the smartphones and the Palm Pilots. I remember all that.
Mm.
The smartphones coming around, the iPhone, taking over, the Android, taking over, and doing all that. And then what was it? It was what really changed the landscape. From what I see, there were two major events. One was when Apple got hacked, I think, with everybody getting the celebrity photos,
Oh yeah,
and they
I
really
remember that.
ratcheted up security. And then you had a couple of security researchers talking about how they were using the Latin longitude for tracking. It was what was that database? I forget the name of the location database that
Oh
was
yeah,
found.
yeah.
And you saw a major shift in privacy, and that has continued on to this day. And so you've seen, more encryption. You have full disk encryption, you have file-based encryption, and you basically the data on the phones are just encrypted at rest. So when the device is off, the data sitting on the chip is encrypted. Um, so bigger concerns for privacy has been a major push. Encryption's been a major change, and just kind of combating that and going after
Mm-hmm.
that and getting lawful, legal, privacy advocated access to these devices is a challenge. And that's kind of where MSAB has been focusing on. And we've had some really good success, uh, not just lately, but just kind of building up our portfolio of products and solutions that kind of provide that kind of access to law enforcement, from the frontline aspect to being able to maintain, privacy of users, privacy of like rape victims or suspects or, witnesses and things like that, where you kind of need to have that little bit of privacy advocacy for them based on the laws that are coming down the pipe or that we're seeing in other countries.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And I can't imagine the U.S. is too far behind in some of that um, of those stringent laws that we're seeing over in what is it mainly Europe right now, right? That's
Yeah,
the
the
big culprit.
EU is a big
Mm.
proponent. They're a big pusher. They actually stood up a group called For Mobile that MSAB was a part of. The UK has been another huge proponent, but the US, the way that we're set up is so different from the EU or the UK or just other countries. Is we have a very almost hierarchical jurisdiction for law enforcement. You have your local law enforcement, you have your sheriffs, then you have your state, then you have your federal, but then also you have federal task force. So you have all these little jurisdictions that have to work with each other. And you'll find those privacy laws exist in the US. It's just a matter of what jurisdiction or which jurisdiction they exist in.
Hmm.
So we have those, and we need that. And what's another issue that we have in the US is our geography. We have a large population of people, but we also have a large country, so it's very spread out. So I mean, for my case, when I was doing law enforcement stuff, I was in Mississippi, so it may take me a drive to an hour, but I was going 60 miles. And then, for the people that live in LA, if they drive, an hour, they're only going like a mile and a half or around the block. They're just getting a cup of coffee, right?
Man,
The
it's so
traffic's so
true.
bad. And so that's something that we have to kind of adjust for and do more frontline. And I always, give the example of, you know, you have your spear and you kind of start with like a blunted tip spear and you want to extend that tip of the spear and point
Mm.
that out and push forensics further forward.
Yep. No, absolutely. Absolutely. Um, so where you guys really focus on right now is you got some Android stuff as well, right? That some deployment onto, like, for example, I think we were talking during the pre-show earlier in the week was that you guys can deploy on mobile devices, an actual mobile device in like a mass situation, or it doesn't have to be, I guess, that way. But tell us a little bit about that and a little bit about that product.
So the solution you're talking about is actually called Raven.
Raven.
Uh, and it is a suite of Android apps that we created here by our dev team in the U.S. And I was actually I'm definitely not the lead developer because I've forgotten most about computer science and I could ever remember. I'm no longer a smart kid. Um, so I was like the program manager for seeing that team. And so basically, we created a suite of apps that we can deploy through our own app store that my team built
Yeah.
for themselves. So we can deploy our own app store. We can let customers deploy their own app store, and then they can just simply log in to the app store, download different Android apps to either extract mobile phones, extract drones, extract multimedia. We ended up building a small write blocker solution for Android. And we did all of this so that we wouldn't have to actually exploit or jailbreak or root the Android device. So
Mm.
it's all native to Android. It all works on the suite. You can actually go into like Best Buy or Target or Walmart or Kmart or whatever you have, maybe even Dollar General, buy a Android phone, go to the app store, the Raven app store, and download it and be good to go. And so that's kind of and be good to start ripping phones and doing all that kind of stuff. And it supports both iPhone for extractions as well as Android devices for extractions. But it was interesting. That was a product that started out working with the U.S. military
Mm-hmm.
for collecting a bunch of SIMs very quickly and effectively, and then kind of analyzing them. And I actually got the idea sitting in a conference show, and don't tell my boss, I hope he's not watching, but I was playing around on an Android phone trying to hook up a PlayStation controller to the Android device so I could use it to play like games. And again, oh man, this is 10 years ago. So at that time, I had time to play games at a conference show. Nobody knew me. Nobody would come talk to me. I was, you know, um, I didn't have your award winning personality, Kevin. So people avoided me. So I had a lot of time to play games. I figured out how I was working to hook up the PlayStation controller to the Android device. And it was using the HID interface, that mouses and keyboards use. And I said, oh
Mm-hmm.
man, I bet I could build a SIM card reader that uses that. And that's what we started with. And it was very successful. And it just kind of grew from there, from doing just SIM cards to doing mobile phones, drones, and multimedia. It's a cool product. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's one near and dear to my heart. Um, uh, we developed it here in the U.S. We built the hardware in the U.S. It's actually assembled in what I like to call God's country, Mississippi. Even the plastic injection molding. So we flew everything over here. The PCBs are made in the U.S. And even the plastic housings made in the U.S. So
No kidding.
we're super proud about it. Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. No, I haven't. I saw a little bit about it, but I haven't had to lay my hands on this yet. And I'd love to do that. So I think that'd be a great video actually. So uh, just a little bit of my experience on that. Hint, hint, wink, wink.
Oh yeah. Sure. Yeah, no worries, man. I'm the president now. Like I could
That's
probably
right.
sneak one out for you. I know a guy, right? Like that's what they tell me.
I think where did I can't remember where I first met you at. It probably was at a show somewhere, or at a class somewhere, or who knows. More than likely, it
Um,
was
so let's see. Well, how
maybe a
long?
bar.
So my first foray into mobile phone or forensics in general was at Mississippi State. I was a computer science. I was a graduate student, and I was teaching classes there and doing research into actually what was then SCADA forensics.
Hmm.
So I'm a PhD dropout, which is about the extent that could just being an academic dropout basically summarizes my academic career. Um, so I was doing SCADA forensics at the time. So the supervised control and data acquisition systems that control the critical infrastructure, so gas
Hmm.
pipelines and stuff like that. And we looked at it, and I was like, man, this is like really easy to hack. So we actually, me and a couple guys that are way smarter than me, built a few things, and we're actually showing that we could, inject packets into their network and keep a sensor from saying that it was too high pressure and get a gas pipeline to explode, or make a conveyor belt roll backwards and all that kind of stuff. And so, but Mississippi State had what was known as the National Forensics Training Center, and this predates the great NCFI school in Hoover, right? So
Hmm.
it was kind of before that. And so they brought me on, and all I did was run around and train law enforcement officers on how to do computer forensics. So bag and tag, digital search and seizure. What was digital back then? The idea that
Yeah.
somebody could stick a micro SD card somewhere on their person or in their person. Law enforcement wasn't really looking at that. 15, 20 years. Ooh, golly, yeah, 20 years ago, man, that hurts to say,
It's
more
been
than
a
20 years
it's
ago.
been a minute. Yeah.
So we were looking at that, and I'm trying to, I can't think of just exact year history, but we did a lot with access data. We had like a PRTK cluster back then. And I think, weren't you like, didn't you run like the training?
Yeah, I was with training with
When, so 20 years ago, where were you?
way back when. 20 years ago. God, what year is this? I was still in law enforcement at 20-year mark. Yeah, I was still in law enforcement at the
Between
20-year
20 to
mark.
15, when did you shift out?
I left law enforcement full time in 2012, but I was working for um, a company called MFI, and that ended up
Yeah,
Access Data ended up purchasing them, and I'd been with them for a couple of years prior
that
to that.
was that Reavers?
Yeah, that was Reavers.
Yeah, so Lee's
Yep.
there. There's the rock star. That's the
Yeah.
pretty boy
Yeah.
of forensics right there. That guy. So I knew Lee from then. I met Reaver way back then, and I think I met Reaver through Mississippi State and Access State, and met him at shows. Um, and that's back. And this is going way back, like when there used to be Mobile Forensics World,
Hmm.
and it
Yeah,
wasn't a
Chicago.
part of
Yeah.
that now, if I remember all this correct.
Yep.
And then I used to go to a lot of the, as a grad student, I went to the DFRWS conferences, which are still great if
Hmm.
you're interested in like the latest research. So DFRWS, I think it's dfrws.org.
I
If I
think it is. I think it is.
if I can pull that rabbit out of my hat, I'll be amazed if that's the
I'm
correct
gonna I'm
address.
gonna pop it up over here on my side screen here just to see.
Yeah, so that was great. So that had to be with Reber. Yeah, yeah, that would have been it. And I was so yeah, so I was working at Mississippi State, and then I was reserve officer with Tri County Narcotics, Octavia County Sheriffs, and doing all that. So and then I would do that, and then I would actually Mississippi State would I flew up as far as Alaska and taught classes, and went all the way down to like Naples, Florida, and taught classes, and then ended up happening like they would a couple agencies would kind of liaison with Octavia County Sheriffs or one of the AG offices I was working with, and I would help with different cases. Like, hey, we have this and all this kind of thing. My actual claim to fame, and it's no longer famous. This fame was quite fleeting, but The state of Mississippi, or the South in general, we have a power company called Southern Company, and so
Mm-hmm.
we have Alabama Power, Mississippi Power, and stuff like that. Well, Southern Company had a cell phone division called Southern Link, and they were one of the IDEN networks. And I'm totally dating myself. If anybody remembers IDEN, I will be
Oh man,
amazed.
yeah.
Yeah, so they did IDEN. So all the Motorola phones, the push to talk Motorola phones,
Yep.
that was IDEN. And then there was a national IDEN network, and they got bought. I think it was I forget who they got bought by, but they got bought. And so Southern was the second largest IDEN network, I think, in the world. But what they had way back then was they had monthly prepaid accounts. You'd go in for $20 and get a phone from Southern Link, and that was it. So it was like Southern Link is a great company, Southern Company's a great company, but we basically call it the criminal network because they just walk in, pay $20, get a phone, get a whatever, and then have that. And
Right.
so I actually, with XRY, they were able to do the physical and get the flash image, or the NAND chip, the flash from the NAND chip. And
Mm-hmm.
I was able to parse through that. And I wrote a bunch of Python scripts that could go through the actual flash and figure out where the passcode was. And then it would pull the passcodes out of all the IDEN phones. And then you could put it back in the phone and then rip it like a normal phone and get all the text messages and stuff like that, calling all stuff. I did that like, oh man, like 15 years ago. 13, 14 years ago. And I think some of then the MSAB and way smarter people, men, refined that process and made it a lot neater. And then IDEN went away. Like
Yeah, I think
nobody sees IDENs anymore.
I know Sprint bought some IDEN stuff too, wasn't it? Sprint that bought some of that
It
tech up
was
because
Sprint. Yeah, it was Sprint. It was
push
the
to talk stuff.
push to talk. They
Yeah,
had the great commercials of the dots, the big fat dot people going, "Hey, where you at, man?"
that's right.
You know,
That's right.
yeah.
They did. Yeah, and that Southern company it's funny. I actually actually own stock in those guys. They pay good dividends if you're just curious.
No, really. Oh, yeah. Look, again, I'm not that smart, man.
I'm
Right.
not either. Other people tell me you should buy that stuff.
Yeah.
It's
It's
pretty
in
cool.
Mississippi. We deal in barbecue and moonshine down here. So that's it.
It's not too different from up here in Ohio, man.
Yeah.
Not too
Well, I
different.
lived in Ohio, so I used to live in Ohio. Lived in Dayton.
Did I know this? I don't think I knew this.
Yeah, yeah.
What were you doing in Dayton?
Just escaping the law, running from the judge. I lived in Ohio for a few years, and hated the snow. So they moved me to another God's country, Arkansas, and I lived in Arkansas for a while and ended up down in Mississippi.
Right on. Well, Dayton's not like really rural, at least. There
No, it's nice. I've got great friends up there. I mean,
there's
Dayton's
a
is great.
you
But
were.
I always remember the Skyline chili. Oh, everybody loves the Skyline chili out of Cincinnati.
Do you like the Skyline chili out of Cincinnati though? That's the thing. All
Absolutely,
right, because
absolutely.
it's either you love it or you hate it type thing. And a lot of people I know hate it. I love it.
Well, I
It's
think if you
great.
grow up there, you like it. Like, so, I mean, I was there in my, formative years. So, I mean, developed a taste for it. So,
Right.
Skyline chili, Kings Island,
That's right.
uh,
That's right there in Mason. Yeah.
Put in Bay. I used to go to Put in Bay up
That's
in Lake Erie.
I'm literally probably 30 minutes from where the jet takes out. Probably 40, Port Clinton,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
from takes out. But Cedar Point is
Yeah.
30
Cedar
minutes
Point's awesome.
from my
Yeah.
driveway to their parking lot. 30-minute drive, and I love it. We should have a big forensic conference at Cedar Point. I got a pretty nice beach.
Oh, we could ride. What was is it the longest wooden roller coaster in the world? The Beast?
No, that's at Kings Island. So that's
That's at
down.
Kings
That's
Island.
down there. Yeah, and they actually. So it's funny. I wrote it on their. Was it their 40th year? So it opened I think in 78, something like that, 77, and I wrote it that year it opened. Man, it terrified me as a little kid. That big,
Yeah.
massive roller coaster. And then I got to take my daughter 2 years ago, and ride it at their 40th anniversary, which was freaking awesome. It beat the living crap out of me. I mean, CJ might as well just punched me in the kidney a few times as hard as he could. It's about the same
Yeah.
experience as riding that. But
Oh,
this year,
yeah. He's a big guy, but for those are show muscles. He doesn't hit hard. It's like getting hit by a kitten. Yeah.
but this year they retracked it for this season, so it completely new retract. So and it should be a lot smoother. Anyway,
So if you can,
tell them
if
we're a
you
little
guys are
janky.
good at forensics and stuff like that, there is a video and pictures of me from high school singing "Do the Locomotion" karaoke with some friends of mine in front of the entire Kings Island amusement park. True story.
No
True
kidding. Is
story.
that on 8 millimeter film, or is that
It
like
probably is. So that's another great thing about being old is like when I did light undercover, where I was like the John. I bought drugs and hookers and stuff like that. Then they made me a cop. All that is on. It's not digital. It's not saved on
that's
SD
right?
cards. It's all like deep mini DV8 tapes and stuff like that. So I'm pretty safe, right?
That's
So,
it's the only saving grace from our generation, man. I
yeah,
think
that
most of
is
us
it.
would have been in a lot of trouble if they
That's,
had that tech. Then I don't know how
yeah,
the kids today can.
yeah.
Anyway, we'll probably should change the subject. Wait a minute. You
Oh
know,
yeah, that's fine. Yeah, whatever.
we're
You're leading
far
the
we're far enough away. I don't think they could come
yeah,
back and
you're
charge
leading,
us with
you're leading the show.
statute of limitation. No, we're good. We're all good.
Well,
Oh man. So you guys got some shows coming up too, right? You're gonna be
absolutely,
at the shows. Where are you gonna be?
man. So we're
If
gonna be
people are
all
out
over.
there,
So we'll be all over. We have the usual crew. So definitely doing the technos. Both the East Coast one in Myrtle Beach and I think the West Coast one. I think it's in San Diego. So we'll definitely be there. Um, I know that we're a big. I personally. So when I came on and stuff like this, uh, we wanted to kind of rechange how MSAB was not necessarily doing business, but helping our customers. So
Mhm.
what we've really done is have a focus on helping in the investigative scenes and stuff like that. So I'm a big proponent of the investigator style shows. So the ones that really push that. So I love shows that are with like FLETC. I love shows that are with like IASIS.
Mm.
I love the narcotics officer show, the homicide investigator show. So we're trying to do those more and really kind of focus on that and reach out and kind of be a part of those. We also have some stuff that we're doing. You know, I mean, once conference season kicks up and goes through, we're all over the place. Of course, right? We've done a few things. I think you did that. We did our first time doing the virtual one with you
Oh
was
yeah, yeah.
December
Back in
Cyber Social
December.
Month. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we're looking to do that again. But our big ones that we'll probably see everybody out are going to be like the ICACs. So hopefully the Atlanta, the Northwest ICAC. If you guys haven't done, if you, and I
Oh,
think I was talking to you this one early, the Northwest ICAC. That was my first time going to the Northwest ICAC show, and it's a pretty good show. It's a cool location. If they can have it on the Microsoft campus, if you've never seen the Microsoft campus, it's pretty neat. And I love you got to love the ICAC mission. And it's near and dear to my heart because when I moved to the coast, I was part of this task force doesn't exist anymore, but I was part of the Gulf Coast Cybercrime Task Force,
mm-hmm.
and we did anything with an internet nexus. But our main stuff was ICAC and
Yep,
human trafficking,
yep.
and so we really focused on a lot of that. And so those kind of shows are really near and dear to my heart, and I want to go and support those organizations. A lot of people, the ICAC shows, the narcotics officer shows, the homicide investigator shows. That's actually supporting the law enforcement associations. Big fan of
Yeah, same way. I mean, really, I really haven't met a show yet I don't like. I mean, actually, any that I've been to that I like, I don't like this
that.
show in the slightest
Yeah,
because I try to pick up something or I learn something from someone at almost every single show. I think the first one we're going to be at together is IASIS, with MSAB is going to be down there,
yeah,
and then
yeah.
you're personally going to be at that Techno Security in right. Are you going to be at that?
I will be at any show that they pay my expense report on.
Fair enough.
That's the way to go. Yeah, that's the way to go.
Because
No. So
where?
I'm hoping I can be in. I'm hoping I can, be in. I mean, IACE is in Orlando.
Hmm.
Orlando's great. It's a lot of fun. So if I can, you know, get down to Orlando, I'd be happy. I'd love to do that. I'll definitely be at Techno, both Myrtle Beach and San Diego, and I'll probably, do a couple shows. My team that works with me, I got to keep them guessing. I don't like to tell them where my moves are. Right.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
Got
They're
got it.
all yeah,
Got
they're all strategery. I'm playing checkers. They're playing chess. So I got a surprise attack. Yeah.
got to keep it on the low so they don't know when you're going to pop in there all of a sudden, right?
Exactly.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to be at Techno Security, and we're actually taking all of our broadcast stuff down. all of it. And
Mhm.
we've got basically a mobile broadcast booth that we can set up at various places. So, maybe you can pop on the show for a quick few minutes from broadcasting down there as well.
I, yeah, I'd be happy to. Just make sure you hit me before happy
No, why would I do that?
hour.
it's
It's
a,
for me. It's for my own sake. It's for my own sake. Yeah.
it's for your own safety, as in job
For
security,
my own,
or
yeah, my own sake. Yeah, I think we did our last team event last year in December, like Chris supporting all this stuff. Said thank you to my team, which I have an amazing team. I can't say it enough. And my last slide of the year was thank you for not reporting me to HR. Was like thank you guys. Like I am. They really they with me. They put up with a lot. I mean, it's we try to make it fun, and they just thank God they just roll their eyes and walk and ignore me.
they're used to you now, so for the most
Yeah,
part, anyway.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Let me look here. I got some things. Oh, I'm supposed to ask you a question. Now, see,
Oh yeah,
I try to get dirt on everyone before they come on the show.
oh,
Some
there's a lot of
people will
dirt
give
on
it up, some won't.
it.
I'm waiting for an email right now from CJ. I'm sure he's got something here. I haven't seen it come in yet though.
Yeah,
So if you guys have something, send it to me. But I'm
please
supposed
don't.
to. Whether I read it or not, it's a different story, right? We
Yeah,
gotta play
there's a
by
lot of
YouTube's niceties. Anyway, so we don't get banned from YouTube. Then we'll have to go over to another one. But Bananas Foster, there's a story there. I was told to ask you about this. So what's the deal?
So we have a few official things. So Bananas Foster is the official dessert of MSAB. And for those of you who have never had Bananas Foster, maybe you've never heard of it, Bananas Foster is basically a fried banana dish that's served over ice cream. And what you do is you take rum, copious amounts of rum, uh, triple sec, um, and bananas, brown sugar, butter, lots of butter, and then you set it all on fire, right? And you flambe it, and then you pour it over vanilla ice cream. Now
Nice.
I'm particular to the Bluebell homemade vanilla, but you do you, and it is absolutely Bananas Foster was actually created for I believe it was a Dr. Foster out of New Orleans at Brennan's I think Brennan Steakhouse or was Commander's Palace. That was the original creator of Bananas Foster, but you have to look that up. But Bananas Foster, the official dessert of MSAB, and the official team of MSAB by democratically elected is the New Orleans Saints, and the official college football team of MSAB is Mississippi State Bulldogs.
No
All
kidding.
democratically elected. We had a couple of previous people that tried to do a coup and get their team elected, and then it went out to popular vote, and the popular vote won.
Okay, so they tried to pull an Arizona on you. Gotcha.
Yeah, they totally.
Sorry, I gotta throw the little jabs in if I can.
Yeah, yeah.
That's funny. But you got a lot of chat with that dessert. So I think I don't think Jennifer would let you guys do that if you made it right in your booth. That'd be awesome.
I can make it. I know how to make it.
Really?
Like, yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. Oh yeah.
We gotta find a heat source that's relatively safe, and then mix an alcohol in with it. That could be a little scary, but as long as we don't
Yeah.
catch anything on fire, I think Jennifer would be all for that.
We could probably do it outside. I mean, we could do it. Yeah. Why can't? I bet we could. Oh man, we can figure out a way. Come on now.
I'm all in. I'm curious who else is all in if anyone's going to techno, and we'll figure this out because I don't know how to make it. I know how to eat it, but I don't know how to make
Yeah,
it.
it's super easy to make. It's super easy. It's wonderful. Yeah, it's wonderful. The only time I ever messed up doing it was I didn't have triple sec. I had blue curacao, and the bananas turned green. So it wasn't the most appetizing looking, but it tasted great.
It
But
was
I
still good though, right?
just yeah, 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 yeah,
It was your St. Patty's Day edition, right?
yeah,
Essentially,
yeah,
yeah. Since St. Patty's Day was yesterday, right?
mhm,
Yeah, right
yeah,
on.
yeah.
Yeah, Dave Ryberg says the fire department will be there anyway. Were you there last year when all the alarms were going off on the upper floors all the time,
No,
like
I had
three
so I
times?
ended up because of just my ridiculousness of me trying to plan any trip, I always wait till last minute. So I ended up staying off property, which had its own pitfalls and rewards. So I missed the fire alarm pull
You didn't
on
miss
that, but I
anything.
definitely heard about it. I
I,
definitely heard about it. I'm surprised I didn't tell you that story about me like last year having to deal with spring breakers at my when I was staying at Techno last year. So that was fun. Yeah.
no, I didn't hear this story. Is this something you're wanting to talk about now, or is better?
I mean, it's nothing. I ended up. So I mean, make a long story short, we had a. I ended up staying at like this Airbnb that was just right down the road and right next to him, rented out to a bunch of spring breakers. So about 2, 3 a.m. in the morning, I hear like this uncontrolled sobbing coming from outside the door, and I open up the door, and I mean, you can imagine the shock of a 400-pound silverback gorilla waking up at 3 a.m., opening a door, going, "What in the world is going on?" And it scared this poor girl half to death. Well, she apparently had lost her cell phone, her wallet, her car keys, everything. And her friend was passed out in their hotel room, and she was beating on the door. And apparently, she'd been beating on the door for hours and didn't control cheers. Long story short, I ended up I'm not on the ground floor. Let's just put it that way. I ended up scaling across my balcony on the outside into her balcony, got in through their sliding door, tried to wake up her friend, did not happen. And I go through their room and open it up and let them in. And then I go back and I was like, I came in the next day and my whole team was like, "Oh, you look awful, like more than usual." They're like, "Oh yeah." And I was like, "Yeah, this is what happened."
At least you broke into the right room and it wasn't a big scam. That would have turned out even
Yeah.
better.
Well, yeah, after the third try, I got the right one. Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Went back to a couple other rooms a couple other times. Like, hey, what's up, guys?
hey, you remember me, right?
Mhm, mhm.
Holy cow, man,
Yeah,
that's so
yeah,
funny.
yeah.
Oh, let me look here, man. So another thing that I wanted to talk to you about, and some people may not know, if they've not seen one before, is what exactly a mobile or forensic kiosk is. What exactly is that, and why are these things just awesome? I have personally seen them, and
Yeah.
they're freaking awesome. So tell me about those.
So the mobile kiosk or the kiosk situation is basically it's you can think of it as an all-in-one computer with kind of a solid base, touch screen, all that kind of stuff, and basically it's running ours runs a version of X or Y software, so it's the exact same wizard. So the same extraction, the same data you would get from running X or Y Office,
Mm-hmm.
or even our advanced products like the AAL. It's the exact same wizard, exact same data, and it's been certified by NIST. And it basically allows customers to work with us, and we can build their own workflow. So if they have specific case data elements that they want to collect, if they have a case ID they want to collect, they want to say arresting officer, or they want to say area of operation, or these things like that, they can have all that stuff pre-populated in the report, and they follow a very wizard as customized by them, and it kind of makes the whole extraction process very easy for mobile forensics, and it puts it in a stationary situation. We offer that capability both in the kiosk, which is it's really just an all-in-one computer that where the hardware's all been tested and all that kind of stuff, and then warranted by MSAB. Well, you have the same ability to do that on a tablet and things like that with other products like XRY Express and stuff like that. And you can just push your workflow around, and then what's nice about it, where we've had a lot of success at doing it, is also the remote management. So all those kiosks, all the XRY kiosks, XRY Express, XRY Office can all be connected up to another product we have called Exec Director to remotely manage, do updates, get reports, statistics, and all that kind of stuff. So it's a super cool product and super way to kind of do that stuff.
Now, who's your ideal user for something like that? What kind of environment are those normally deployed in?
So for the kiosk, I think the ideal user are really going to be so. There's a problem. There's a problem in law enforcement right now, and it's kind of like we need to work on like de-escalation and reducing the intimidation level that you have with not just not with suspects, because not every suspect ends up being the actual perpetrator. but also witnesses, victims, all this kind of stuff.
Hmm.
There can be a reluctance if you whip out some crazy gnarly tool that has like a skull symbol logo on it and stuff like that. So it's really where we see that and where we've gotten a lot of traction is when you need to reduce your backlog and you have searches that an officer can just walk in, sit down in front of a kiosk and say, hey, we need to extract this phone. And you can do it and it's a friendly manner, it's easy to use. So it's really kind of having like a kiosk at the station or maybe an express tablet like in the car with you. And doing that and just really kind of pushing that forensics focus because you were law enforcement. I
Hmm.
mean, one of the best times to get cooperation and understanding and to see the gravity of the situation you're dealing with is at the incident and like saying, hey, this accident just happened, I just witnessed this shooting. You need cooperation, you need that community level trust, and so forensics needs to be pushed out there. And so there's a twofold benefit of it. One, you get greater cooperation with victims, witnesses, and potential suspects and things like that. But also, it helps in reduction of the backlog. Um, and so there was a huge push for computer forensics as computers got larger and larger for triaging. Like we used to, in computer forensics, what would you do? We DD'd EO1 everything. Every drive got DD'd, and you'd
Hmm.
have massive amounts of data. What happened? Well, hard drives got ridiculously big, so it became that. It became too much data. So then entered the triage tools, and so now you're triaging computer forensics to see, how much evidence is there, and what we actually need. Is this something we need to make priority? And so the kiosk, the frontline aspect, the X or Y expresses, that kind of stuff, that enables that process, and that helps in the reduction of backlog. It's also a reduction in cost, travel cost, time, and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's a if when properly implemented, it can save a ton of time, a ton of money. It's a ton of value for law enforcement, right? And you get more cooperation, you get more data, and
Yeah,
you
for
get the
sure.
stats, right? And the stats are important to show crime reduction and things like that.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. I mean, that was always a big pushback if we were trying to collect data on scene, or at least collect phones on scene, or anything like that
Yeah.
from
The,
witnesses,
the other area we've seen
victims.
it,
It's like they didn't want you seeing the photo shoot they did for their significant other. You know, it's like my phone. No, you can't have that. You absolutely
so
can't have
that's
that.
great that you mentioned that. So that's one of the other like kind of technology things, the hurdles that we've been able to overcome at MSAB is that selective pre-filtering. So with X or Y Office, Express, with the tablet, with the kiosk, you actually have the ability when you connect up a device, you can say, hey, only grab this, only search within this time span, only look for this data. So you have a pre-filtering before the extraction, which was a technology that was really not capable of for mobile phones for a long time until we were able to kind of build that in.
Yeah. Now, you've talked a lot about some of the challenge and stuff law enforcement is, and this is always a crapshoot question. So I won't hold it to you in 5 years or now. I just won't do it. But we're aware of some of the problems with encryption and things like that now. But where do you see the mobile tech going, and some of the challenges that may be on the horizon for digital investigators?
So I actually think you can see a lot of mimicking from the computer forensics world, and so you can think back like so we originally had magnetic drives, right,
Mm-hmm.
and so then we got SSDs, and then SSDs then brought in the ability to have that data encrypted just by default and stuff like that. And so that the flash chips that make up the SSD also are in the cell phone and stuff like that. So you kind of see that happening. So what in computer forensics did we start doing? Um, what in computer forensics did we start doing to kind of combat that? Well, we started doing more RAM captures. We started doing more live acquisitions. We started, trying to maintain the computer on and keep it live. Who was it? Um, I think I might get this wrong. But I think Weeby Tech used to have a product called like the Hot Plug.
No, it absolutely. I think it was them.
And
I
now
was
Weeby
at
Tech, they're owned by CRU Dataport. Again, it's those
ISIS
little
that year.
innovations.
They showed that thing.
Yeah, the hot plug. You'd like go over the plug and you could disconnect.
Yes.
I mean, I remember using those things,
I wasn't
right? And
I
so
wasn't brave enough to do it, man. I thought I was going to kill myself.
brave. I would do a lot of stuff, but bravery was not the reason behind it. It was more like, y'all hold my beer, I'll do this. Um, so we did that, and then so you kind of see that live forensics model. I think we're going to end up going to that live forensics model more so with mobile phones, doing RAM captures, stuff like that. But also then, and then you're seeing a bigger push into the cloud. So where the data, you may end up being the data may be accessible on the device, right? If we can get it, great, right? It may be that the data is also on the cloud, like it's and where you want to see the forensics trends, right? You need to look at the technology trends, right? Where are Apple, where are Google, where are they pushing users? They're pushing users to the cloud,
Mm-hmm.
right? So forensics is going to begrudgingly, held by a large chain, be drug over to that direction more so than they already are. And so you'll probably see more data in the cloud. You'll see more stuff like that, and you're going to see with forensics more use for lawful access. Privacy is a big concern. I think that's going to keep getting uh, more and more deliberate, um, where you have to justify what you're taking. We're seeing judges used to just write a warrant like, yeah, if it's got digital data, you just have a warrant. We'd write to be like, oh yeah, anything that can hold digital data. Well, I was like, that's anything. We'd collect everything, right?
Yep.
Um, well, now everything holds digital data, right? I mean, I don't think I look at my desk, which is absolutely completely organized. That's a total lie. But there's a ton of digital data stuff just sitting around here that we would have, and all that you can't necessarily collect all that and process all that. So you're going to see that. But all that data is going up to the cloud. So we'll be looking at that, kind of do that. And the other hurdle that we're going to see, and that you're kind of seeing, and that's always been there, and we've just solved it at different times, is the storage issue. I have to keep this data, right? How long do I keep it for? When is the case adjudicated? What's the length? Is it 7 years? Is it 20 years? Is it indefinite? All that kind of stuff. And so you're going to have that problem. So storage has always been a problem. We're no longer going to be able to just write all the data out to a hard drive, stick a hard drive into a case, or burn everything out to a Blu-ray and stick it in a case folder. So we'll see more and more of that. And then, I mean, I kind of think that's where it's going to go. Just follow the tech, wait a couple years, and then forensics and stuff will get there. But absolutely more encryption, more storage problems. We're going to end up seeing, the technology kind of shift. I think live captures, RAM captures are going to be important. Um, um, the cloud, we'll probably end up getting to the pen testing and all that kind of stuff. But the devices are still going to be important. I mean, they're not making smaller storage phones. Phones are getting larger and larger. I think now Apple has like the 1 terabyte iPhone that you can
Something like
get.
that. They just talked about some new ones a couple weeks ago, and I didn't get to
Yeah.
see the whole thing, but it's ridiculous. Only this one, I mean, is 256 gigs in this thing. The only reason I got it because they were all out of the other ones. I was like, man, I don't need
Yeah.
256 on my phone. It's crazy to deal with that. So, do you think part of, and I'm not going to ever say it's going to replace it because there's just no way on digital forensics, is that a lot of the acquisition, the acquiring that data, is going to be kind of like they do a lot in the corporate side, and the e-discovery side, where they're building connectors and stuff to connect up to those to pull those cloud-based storage solutions down.
Absolutely. Yeah. So the cloud, you're going to have to end up accessing either their online APIs, their access. You're going to have to go into their servers and things like that. And again, though, we're not going to be able to do that from a law enforcement standpoint. You're not going to be able to do that until the legal stuff catches up. There's going to be legislative changes. Like and this may not be the case. Maybe there's some new law that I'm just not up on, but it used to be is where does that, when you get a warrant, you're going for that physical property.
Mm.
And I have a warrant to go through that door to get data from this building, and that's it. If I don't, my warrant is written so tight that there's a shed over here, I may have to go get another warrant to get that. You're going to see this legislation needs to catch up with that. And one of the questions we always had is, okay, so I can go to this computer right here and I can access the data, but the server is, who knows where it's distributed. Do I have lawful access to get that, or is that server even located overseas and all that kind of stuff? So we're gonna have to get that, and legislature's gonna have to catch up on that. And I mean, that's coming. It's just
Mm-hmm.
it's a matter it's a matter of when, not a matter of if.
Yeah, I'm not aware. I mean, I know some forces when I used to over the UK and teach a lot. They dealt with that all the time with the computers. I don't know. Obviously, the laws here in the U.S. on that. It's been a minute since I've actually had to deal with that stuff. Now I can just sit back and get a microphone and talk about it. I don't have to actually do the work. Uh,
I wish I still end up helping on cases.
yeah.
I still apparently like when they want to, break into like something really, really old or learn about DOS 5.0, they still call, the old guy. So they still, so I said that, but I mean, there's a, there's a, one of my coworkers years ago told me and said this saying is ever more prevalent. This is as easy as it will ever be right now, right? It's just going to get more complicated. It's just going to, there's going to be, something else newer and something else you're going to have to learn and keep on there. It's no longer, we're no longer just dealing with data at rest. Now we're dealing
Yeah.
with data on the move. We're dealing with live data. You're going to have to get prepared for that. And it goes back to how do you solve this problem is education, it's training, it's support to both your law enforcement, both to your forensics or your incident response teams within the private sector. You need this continuous support, and you need people that understand it. Unfortunately, but fortunately, we've had some incidents where we've seen cyber attacks. We've seen large cases for e-discovery that were needed and stuff like that. And so now companies and organizations are starting to kind of realize that yeah, we got to support this because the risk is too high,
Mm.
both financially and from an image standpoint, but also morally, right? You don't need to be not letting people do the wrong stuff, right?
Right. And it's kind of been happening for quite a few years. It's a slow, excuse me, a slow merge of the skill sets. Right. One guy used to be, hey, I just do the mobile stuff. That's what I do. Another guy was computer. It's like, hey, I'm the cybersecurity guy. But you really got to have skill sets, even just to do mobile anymore. You have to have that knowledge of connectivity of that cross discipline platform. Just because of the nature of how the device functions now, right?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's kind of always been a problem. So, I mean, again, Mississippi, small agencies, not a lot of bodies. If I got designated the computer guy, I was computer forensics, I was fixing computers. I was, a cell phone is just a computer. Here, give it to the computer guy. Like that's enough what you have, and that happens more and more. The larger agencies, they have an ability to they have the ability the funding and the ability to specialize based on how they're set up, which is fantastic. But cross discipline is definitely needed. Learn more, and
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to know everything about every little detail, but you need to know where the data is and how to get to it.
Right.
Right.
For sure.
That's kind of the most helpful. Like I may not know how to access that Google data, but I know I can go here to get it. I know I can contact Google. I know I can do a preservation letter or a search warrant, or in the private sector, I know, hey, I have a HIPAA issue, right? And I need to go to some doctor. I need to get this data. Like, how do I get that data in a forthright and maintain, your HIPAA?
Yep. It's just so many sources now, for sure. I got a couple questions I've seen kind of come through, and if I'm missing them, I apologize. Dave asks, XOI Express, what is it? Sounds cool. Is that the Raven? Sorry,
No,
had to
the
do the
Raven
voice
is
at
the
the end of that.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, they asked for the question. So Raven is Raven. So Raven is designed just to work on Android. So it is simply a suite of Android apps that you can install and run on your own Android device, or MSAB can provide you with an Android device so that you can just walk around with forensics capability in your pocket. All right, it's really cool, a neat little setup. And the XRY Express is a software-only version. It basically lets you establish your own kiosk on your own hardware or put it on a tablet. So you can use all the workflows. You can have your own custom workflow, use the same one you use on the kiosk, put it on XRY Express. So it's really just like the kiosk software, but we can put it on whatever. If you want to use it on a laptop, which I'm old, like, right? So I still want a keyboard, so I want a laptop. All the new young kids, they're like, oh, tablet, touchscreen. Yeah. I'm like, no, I can't do that. I got to have a keyboard. I
Right.
need a wooden rocking chair in order to do forensics. That's just kind of how it works.
Right. And sorry, I don't think this one went off the screen. This was just a long one that came up in there. Yeah, it looks like it's all there. Um, So asked about a library list with Raven. Again, I'm sure. Is this information on your website? The list of everything, or you kind of give a high level of what everything it supports, and he's asking
Let's see. So
specifically about drones too.
yeah, what does the library list look like with Raven as far as supported models? Drones are the shiny object for us in the DoD. Uh, actually, I would reach out to me, individually. So some of our stuff that we do within the DoD, we don't really talk about, and that's why Raven is just now kind of getting popular. It's existed for several years, but we only kept it within the U.S. military side of things. So Raven has its own like device manual for DroneX is the app for Raven that does drones. It has its own basically device manual for what drones it can do and what it can support. We can support a lot of drones, especially with some of our advanced lab and advanced services stuff that we do. One of the areas that we've really been focusing on is drones. So drones that you see out in the field from a DoD and also a commercial standpoint, DJI is the big power player and stuff like that. But what has recently been happening is people are kind of going back to the homemade or the build it yourself drones like the Pixhawk controllers and stuff like that. So there's been a lot of focus on that, and then also kind of the new like smart controllers. So the controllers that can control multiple drones and they can switch between and stuff like that. So that's been pretty interesting. The actual drone support, we actually are the Raven team usually gets first crack at the drones, and so we just listen to customers say, hey, we need help with this drone. Can you guys help us? And we'll if we can help you, and most of the times we can. We'll get that drone supported. It'll either get added to Raven, then get added to XRY, or we can do some one-off stuff and things like that.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, I saw some of that technology. A guy I knew was tinkering with drones and stuff, and he was building his own stuff from parts that he acquires from just vendors here in the U.S. I think Megan, there's a place in Ohio. I mean that has. I think you were part of those folks at one time, if she's still on here. But he built this drone that he did it to accept Java commands via the cellular network. So I mean, range not an issue with that drone, long as it
Yeah.
had cell signal. He give it a command and it was doing. I mean, he was limited. This has been several years ago by battery power alone. And that was it. Now I even know what they're up to now. I have a drone sitting here around the corner, but that thing's 20 minutes in the air. And yeah, that's it. Megan Flight Test was the name of the company we're talking about. But you
Okay.
can
Yeah.
source those
That's,
parts, and you know it's just funny because you know the amount of I mean, just think of it as the nerd viewpoint of this. You could do some serious nonsense with something that you're across the world on. It just issuing commands via the internet or via a cell, and
well, yeah,
man,
drones are.
scary.
I mean, there's a legit reason why the DoD is looking at drones and stuff like that. I mean, there's if you just go online and uh, pick a conflict and put drone next to it on Google, you'll find something. Ukraine and drones, the border and drones, or anything like that. You'll see that drones are being used all over. They're a great transportation. They're a great ISR mechanism,
Mm.
uh, um, reconnaissance. If you're not familiar with the term ISR, um, they're really well, and you're seeing a lot of shift and being usage for that. And there's even cases of drones trying to be built for practical jokes and stuff like that, and then they or just testing to see what they can do. I think there was a I don't know if it's still on YouTube, but there was a kid who actually, I say kid, he's probably a real adult or something, but he like put a Glock on a drone and then fired it. Like flew with a drone and then had it fire at a target and then filmed it. I think and put it on YouTube. Um, and I don't believe that ATF was super impressed with him.
I could imagine not. Yeah, and
Yeah,
I've seen some fake videos too where they put semi-autos and full autos on those things, and I don't think they're real. They might be, but I'm
this
pretty
one was
certain it's
real.
just something.
I
Really,
know it was.
gosh, it's crazy.
They really did it. Like he set it up to do that. And,
Man, I tell you
yeah.
what, the little drone I got, it's just a little one. Man, freaking get the kickback on it, probably knock it right out of the air. You try to hook it
I've
to it,
actually got the dubious honor of crashing more drones than I've flown. So
but really, I'm glad they make them really hard to crash. At least the one I have is. I gotta really try to take that thing down. The
Man,
only thing that
not
got
lucky.
me was one of the safety features on it. I was flying in my backyard. I got a lot of trees, so I was staying really low, just practicing some low maneuverability in between the trees. Blah blah blah. And the battery starts going low on it. It's got a return to home feature, which I
Mhm.
thought I had turned off. So what that return to home feature does is it goes up, 80 foot up in the air, no matter where
Mhm.
it's at, trying to clear trees and everything, and returns to the spot it took off from and lands. Well, I'm under trees. I start getting the low battery alert, and I'm like, I'm okay. I got a couple minutes. Nope. Man, thing flew up into a tree, up into the tree. So,
Mhm.
anyway, just one of the fun drone stories I have. There's
Yeah,
a,
yeah. Well,
there's a few.
I've seen. It's funny to like see people work with it and doing those in forensics. Like we'll have them over here, we'll be playing with them, and every now and then somebody will forget to take the propellers off, and it'll power on and flap and hit the ceiling. And so you just say, well, you earned your flight badge there, buddy. But yeah, they're dangerous. They're fun though. They're fun.
Oh gosh, yeah, I love them. They're so much fun. That was always my dream as a kid, was to be a pilot, and then I can't see worth a crap, so that kind of limits that down a little bit. I'm scrolling through chat here to see if anybody's got some last minute questions for Jansen. If not, are you in Cyber Social Hub? I think you are. If not, we're gonna have to get you inside there uh,
I should be. If
to
I'm
say
not, I
hi to
should be.
folks.
I'm
Yeah,
honestly like, yeah, I need somebody to manage my social media. I'm still talking to Tom on MySpace. I'm so bad with it.
right on. Yeah, I don't see any other questions, so I think we're good there. So and we're just right at 3 o'clock. Man, that was a fast hour, brother. That was really fast. So I appreciate you coming on, but before I let you go here, and I showed you, I was talking about what we're going to send you, right, for popping on to the show, and I'll probably give it that to you down at Myrtle Beach. I got the
Yeah,
new sample in, so I wanted to show it to you. I got to hide my face here. So
yeah.
if you can see, it's got a picture of an A10 Warthog on that. That's what that is.
That's super
And
cool.
on the back there, it says Cyber Social Hub Hubcast, and it actually comes with this certificate saying
Yeah.
this was actually fired out of an A10 Warthog. This is going to be upside down. There's my scale. I don't know who actually signs it. Says yeah, it fired out of there, but they
Yeah.
probably made that up. But no,
I want to go back through your list of
it's the
people
real.
who have those because nobody wants to take a shot alone. So I got to have like somebody drinking buddy.
Oh, we'll have some down there too. So
All
we're
right,
gonna we're gonna take a few of these down. So
that's
you'll
pretty
be
cool.
in. We just got our new ones in. Actually, Megan, I don't think you've seen these yet. So these just came in a huge box. I don't know how many I ordered. It may have been like a late night QVC thing where I was sitting there, had a couple drinks, but we just got all. Let me hide the back. There you go. We just got these in too. Uh,
Yeah.
a ton of them. I was like, man, how many of those did I order? It was a lot. So, and then it was funny. I got to looking at all of the stuff that we were giving away at different conferences. It's a lot to do with drinking and shooting. That's pretty much what what our swag is. Because here's another one. Let's see, I hide my face there, and I
Oh,
gotta move this. It's an actual round that they cut out to make a bottle opener, which I thought was
mhm.
absolutely insane. And
That is cool.
yeah,
So we have a Swedish counterpart to MSAB, and so they have. I have two funny gun related stories since
go
drinking and
for it.
shooting. These are drinking shooting if we have the time.
Yeah, yeah.
So one of my first forays into MSAB, they flew me over to Sweden, and it was during like right about their midsummer. So they always do like a whole company party, and they kind of get together and stuff like that. And so they're playing like the stuff you expect to see over in Sweden. They're drinking schnapps. They're playing soccer. They call it football. I don't know why, right? They call it playing soccer. And so they're like having me play soccer. And I was like, I grew up in the U.S. before the soccer craze hit, for kids and stuff like that. So I was
Mm-hmm.
like, I don't know what I'm doing, right? I'm like, hitting the ball like a volleyball or something. And so then all of a sudden they pull out skeet shooting. And I was like, oh, the Americanness like kicked in. Well,
Now,
in
now we're
Sweden,
talking.
like all the older guys, they had to do 2 years of military service. And they're like, oh, we shoot. We know how to shoot. You Americans, you think you can shoot. You can't shoot. I beat everyone in the company. I cleaned their clock. I beat them so bad and so fast. It was ridiculous. The Brits, the French, the Swedes, like all of them, they couldn't stand it. I'm talking guys that had years of military service and just walked in. I said, I'm American and I'm from the South. I can shoot. And it got so bad that we were skeet shooting and I would pop off, I'd pop mine and then I'd turn and pop theirs before they even got one shot off. I was like, y'all done messed up.
Nice.
So it was good. It was
I
good
love to
time.
skeet shoot. We go out to my in-laws. Have a farm not far from here too. That's what we should do. I don't think we could do it at Myrtle Beach though.
Dude, I've got a really good gun club down here
Mm-hmm.
that has, that you go get a ticket, you pay your dues, you go, hit the ticket like a barcode, and then it says, okay, you have, 20 rounds, and it'll sit there and fire off 20 birds for you, and you just pop them.
Nice.
Yeah, in Mississippi, I couldn't believe it. I thought it was going to be like some, guy coming out of a trailer going, okay, here you go, sir, and throwing stuff for me.
Just
But now
throws
it's
it.
like all
Get it.
automated. It's an app. I'm like, I couldn't believe this. It's great. Yeah.
That's awesome. That sounds like
Mhm.
something fun. We should probably organize something like that.
Dude, we'll do that. We need to
I'm in.
get let's get Jennifer. Techno Nola. We got
I'm in.
hey, I'm
I'm in
advertising. I'm marketing.
100%, man.
Yeah, Technola. We're gonna do that one.
Nice. Jansen, thank you so much, man, for taking the time out today and coming to chat with me. And I really appreciate it. Like I said, known you for years, and just about time I finally drug you onto the show uh, to talk about things a little bit. So if you guys haven't checked out MSAB yet, you can do that. MSAB.com. Did I get that right? I did it from memory.
Yep.
So all right,
Close
awesome.
enough.
So yeah, you can head over there, check out all the stuff. Jansen's at every show. I usually see him at a million shows throughout the year, every year. So make sure if you see him, go up and you say hi to him now. Now you have some stories about Banana Fosters and everything else to talk to him about. I still want to do that, man. I wasn't joking. We got to figure out how to do it. I'm there.
You do it.
But all right, man. Hey, hang out. Don't hang up yet. And everyone else, I don't see any other questions. So, Jansen, again, thank you, man. And thank everyone for hanging out. I definitely appreciate it. Thanks, man.
Absolutely.